let me understand it. You got to understand. Okay, men hold the key to marriage. You can never ever change that. It ain't about what you want. It's so sad. You got to be able to attract that guy. I know it's hard. But I'm saying you got to be able to attract what you want. Because like I tell any woman, you want a guy to make a certain amount of money. I don't care what your preference is. My thing is, can you get him? Okay, that is a whole thing. Can you qualify what you want? It doesn't matter about you. I want this man to come. He got to be such and such. Can you get him? And she's already proven older in life that either she passed him over and now she can't get him. Because to be honest with you, at 50-year-old, and I'm a 53-year-old woman, and I am divorced, I can tell you the ball is in the man's court. Because I can tell you, even when I'm out with my 63-year-old man who's 6'3", them women still looking at him. I'm talking about the younger ones. I'm talking about like 30-something years old. So trust me, when you 50-something years old, her best bet is get her a 70-year-old man and cup the fuckery. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Go to her, find 70-year-old man that work out really good and take care of his body, honey. Because she's gonna be younger to him. Okay, to him she's gonna be younger. We got to be smart, ladies. We got to stop acting like we can roll with men. The chances of getting with the younger man is not high numbers. It happens, but not in the where men do. They don't fool, not in high numbers.
And I didn't have to say it. Thank you.
That's the reality of it all. And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just being realistic from the 53 years I've been around the sun and how men work. And I read for them. I saw how they operate. They don't want older chicks like that. They will sleep with you and they may date you. But when it comes down to marriage, they usually want somebody young. Even my male friends is in their 50s. Reason why we don't get along and to date because they want younger women. They want women in their 30s. It's what it is. You don't get
I agree with lady. Both
nature, bro.
Hey, Sweeney, what's the numbers on that? As far as, because from what you said earlier, I think you brought us some data that showed that people generally don't have a great disparity with age. It's usually a few years apart, typically. Like the overwhelming majority. It's about 4 years or so.
4 years.
So I mean, people typically do get together with people that are their age. That doesn't mean that you're not. But here's the problem with that: it becomes harder and harder and more competitive. No matter how you spend it, it still is more competitive.
What keeps Tracy Ellis Ross from having a man is because she's a millionaire. And ain't no millionaire. Hold on, bro. You gotta let me finish the argument before you say no, it ain't. And ain't no millionaires checking to marry Tracy Ellis Ross. That's the reality. That's the reality. She can't find somebody on her level that's willing to pull that have that fluid, let her do whatever the hell she want to do in life mentality. And I think she falls more on the extreme level. I don't think she would move symbiotic with a man. I don't think she would. I don't even think she would do what Bo does. I think she would go further than that to be like, you can't tell me shit. I'm not doing it. I'm doing my own thing.
Bo would say that, right? Bo, would you not say that?
No.
In scenarios.
Sweeney, that's valid.
I don't think I'm combative like that.
I don't think so. So, Sweeney, I believe your point is correct with that, but I don't think women who are making average or a tick above average are far removed from that mentality, right? Once a woman understands that she can provide for herself, she would still have the same type of thing. So if you can't be a hyper provider, then she's not going to give you much respect. So she's like, shit, I could do this. I don't really need you to survive.
Well, yeah, fair enough. I was just speaking specifically on Tracy Ellis Ross because I think because what she asked for is a far more extreme than I even hear the average woman who can just provide for herself or ask for.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like her expectations are a lot more lofty to the point where like I would argue that the average woman would still be able to. She would be willing to at least compromise. But I don't see Tracy Ellis Ross as compromising. Because I see her as uncompromising.
Did you realize money?
No,
at all. And lifestyle, whatever.
So it's not a matter of money then, if it's anything.
No. thing. You can't have the same demands you had when you was 20 and 30. That's just a fact. I don't care. It's just not the same. Okay, we all know the men don't even reach their financial peak till they're like 55 or 60 years old. So, you know, they do. If the ball is in the court, we ought to make the game, the rules, ladies, just the way it is. But it doesn't. But for us, we're older. Those are when she was young. Because don't get me wrong, she's not an unattractive woman. She's in her 50s. To me, she looks good, but that's not enough.
Kind of was unattractive even in her youth.
Not enough for the media.
I really want to understand when people keep saying men don't reach their financial potential until you said what did you say, Lady? 55? 60. Okay, so what are men doing before that? Like, what money are they making? Like, because when I think about like I'm
that's a peak.
So that's what I'm asking. What is the peak versus what they're making at
if they making?
Because you gotta understand, you got time. You gotta have time to build your skills up. You're not gonna make that money overnight. So it's better for you to go if you're looking for a job and you got 10 years experience. You're probably gonna get paid more. You can negotiate your pay higher than if you go in with 5 years of experience. This is how it is. And a man that got 20, 30 years, especially in the CEO world of corporate America, we all know they're more likely to move up quicker. That's just the way
I understand that concept. I guess I'm saying, what are y'all saying is the average that a 30-year-old makes versus a 55-year-old? What are we saying are those numbers?
So the numbers is roughly, like anywhere between the ages of 20 to like 27 to 28, maybe potentially 30. They're making around like 27 to 30,000 a year. Then it kicks up to the man.
Who's doing that?
And then
how are they surviving? How are they living?
Exactly. Well, you can survive on your own. You can survive on your own on 30 grand a year. As a single person, you can survive on your own on 30 grand.
That's just rent for 1 year though.
But I get what you're saying.
It depends on where you live.
No, because rent is like if you only average like point being is that if you're just looking at, because the thing is like even if you say that the cost of living is really expensive, you cannot change how much people make in the country.
True.
That's it is what it is. So even if rent is astronomical, what people make is still what people make. So when you talk about because I know a lot of times we talk about men peaking in their income, we often always think about the guy that's making $100,000 or some $1,000 a year.
Right.
Most men peak at like 57 to 65K around the age of 55, closer to retirement. That's where most men are peaking at. And in their 30s, they're making around like 45 to 46,000 a year.
Yeah.
And then in their 60s, they're making around 55, 60. However, if you look at any job position, they all got a tax bracket that you got to progress in. Like you start here, and after 15, 20 years, or you may change your job industry or whatever, by the time you hit 60, you make more than what you made at 20.
Right. But your peak don't mean you're going to be making necessarily.
Your peak don't mean that you're making 180 grand a year for the average dude. No.
Because you got to understand that the older you get, because now their jobs now not trying to hire 50-plus-year-olds. So you got to understand you're at your peak before you start going down, because now you're closer to retirement. That's your peak. So if you stay at McDonald's all your life and worked on I'm not trying to belittle anybody. You stay there till you're 65. That's your peak, because now you're really gonna start. That's just how life works. You're less likely to get hired the older you get. So you might want to stay in. And I'm 53. Trust me, I ain't leaving my job till I get rich. You might want to just get your job, stay right there, build up where you are. Because if you think you're gonna do all this job hopping and stuff, it ain't gonna happen, because jobs less likely to hire you, and that's just your. That's your.
They won't get the most out of you.
Unfortunately,
there's a lot of different reasons though. Before we even drop that, there's a lot of different reasons why men start to get that. First off, you could become an empty nester, so that is automatically going to eliminate a lot of expenses. People typically pay off their houses,
their home by that time,
right? So and then you've been investing the entire. Smart people start to learn money, have better financial literacy as they grow older. I know I did. My money looked different without me doing very different. Just from the financial understanding that I have and knowing what to do with money, how to make smart investments, you start to network better with people who are making money and you gravitate towards those people. So there's a multitude of reasons why men's income, and it's not all necessarily related to how much work you're doing by the time you get to that age. That's why it's so late, because you lose expenses. That's mainly what it is. Once you start to lose expenses, then you could do what you want with your money.
And that's like the reality for most Americans, specifically men, you're gonna die doing your job.
Pretty much.
Most Americans ain't got the money to retire. They may, you know what I mean? Shit. So like,
I work in
even if they do retire from their job, more than likely they would go out and get another job to supplement whatever retirement benefits or whatever that they have.
How can we tie this back
in
for her
I
question?
Work in the industry, so yeah.
The whole Tracy Ellis Ross, and how can we tie all this back in? Because what was you said? What are men doing up between?
She's at her peak.
What are men doing between what ages or whatever?
Yeah, like 25 to 55.
Working.
They're working.
Just like everybody else. What else are they gonna be doing?
I think the real thing you're trying to understand, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is maybe perhaps why aren't they hitching themselves to the woman that they want to build with? Is that one of them or no? Or is that you just want to know what they're doing between 20?
Yeah, I just really wanted to know what they was doing between 25 and 50. That it takes that
they
long
ain't
to
doing
go
nothing
from
no different than what women are doing.
20 to 40,000. No.
What's actually interesting is that women peak in their income a lot younger. They actually peak around in their 40s.
Right.
Peak what? As far as finances?
As far as income. Like finances, that's subjective on a person. You can, you know what I mean? If you make a few good investments, you can peak a lot higher. So but I'm just
I don't even know why we're doing this, but if we're talking about their value, their marketplace value, or anything like that, we really could.
I'm just strictly talking about income because that was the conversation.
Okay, my bad. I thought we was talking about relationships. My bad.
No, I'm just talking. Yeah.